Welcome back to the new Snetterton 300 for round 4 of the Ginetta Challenge. We had a very lively race earlier on in the day. It was won by Sean Hyton. Stuart Pearson starts on pole position this time in his G20. The grid based on the second best qualifying time a driver did in the interrupted wet qualifying session yesterday. He's got Ben Anderson third in the opening race of the weekend alongside him. Ben having been on pole for the earlier race. His teammate Rick Parfitt is on row 2, and alongside him Matt Flowers in another of the G20s that run on a treaded tyre and so go a bit better than the G40s on a racing tyre do in the wet conditions. It's another jumbled grid. It's going to be another lively race, that's for sure. Drivers now waiting for that 5-second board to be displayed. 20 minutes of racing in prospect. We've had 2 wins so far for Sean Hyton outright, 1 for Mark Davis, who's going to win round 4 of the championship. Let's find out. The lights go out, away they go. A slow start is made by the car of Graham Johnson, the G40, the blue and black car there, sluggish off the line as the leaders power down towards Riches. Then turn 1, it's Stuart Pearson on the inside who leads the way. The yellow G20 of Harvey Booth tries to go around the outside, and Ben Anderson is the leading G40, albeit not that quickly off the markers there. Richard Sykes dives between a couple of cars going into turn 1. Somebody kicks up the dirt, but a great start there by Richard Sykes. He had a problem in the first race, but the HHC car now storms its way up the order, and so Stuart Pearson it is who leads the way. Ben Anderson heads to the G40 class in third at the moment, and again, as we saw in race 1, there are lots of quick drivers starting low down on the grid, like Mark Davis, winner of the first race at Alton, who is last on the grid, and somebody in trouble there is Tom Mallett. He was the one, therefore, kicking up the dirt in the first corner, and he's out with suspension damage already. Replay of turn 1. You're on board with Gary Sims. Mallett gets a little bit of a touch, gets sideways, bounces back into the side of the car that's level with him, then goes off the road altogether, heading for the barrier, and bang, Tom Mallett is out of the race. Gary Sims losing places, though, as he tries to keep out of trouble. So Stuart Pearson, the privateer, leads the way. In second spot, Harvey Booth, another of the privateers in the championship, as the leaders dive down towards Brundle and then Nelson. And there, Gary Sims diving through on the inside. The Optimum Motorsport car picks up a place. And ahead you've got Ryan Ratcliffe in the Piranha Motorsport run G40, the orange and white car. And in the background there are cars over the grass, cars spinning. Mark Davis has been off in avoidance, and they're all arriving at a very odd angle, trying to avoid one car that's stationary in the middle of the road. That's going to break the pack up as well. Just squeezing by there was Lee Mole in the yellow G40. He's managed to get through safely, but quite a few of them are going to have to sort themselves out and rejoin as the leaders then head up towards the end of lap number 1, and Richard Sykes is the man to watch in 4th place. Behind this man, Ben Anderson. Anderson wants to get past Harvey Booth, but Psycho, Richard Sykes, is right up behind him, the man from first, looking for places here. Anderson, though, the Woking-based man, launches himself to the inside. In fact, Harvey Booth waves him by, knowing that it's a rather futile effort to try and keep at bay the G40s. They're quicker, and there's nothing to be gained by keeping them at bay. It's class points the drivers are after here, so Booth lets them go. He knows they're going to be able to catch up to the leading Stuart Pearson before long, and so this shortly is going to become the battle for the lead of the race. Ben Anderson ahead of Richard Sykes, and then Sean Hyton doing another of his amazing first lap charges. He's worked his way up through the order. Now on the midpoint of lap 2, he's right on the tail of his class opposition. Sean Hyton then started 11th on the grid. He's working his way up the order as there Ryan Ratcliffe battles his way through Palmer. He's up level with Lee Molden, the former Caterham racer. But look up the road, the black car of Sean Hyton is the one to watch. He's on the tail of Sykes. Sykes attacking Ben Anderson's car now. Anderson in the orange G40. There's Sean Hyton turning his way through. The Academy Motorsport run car, won earlier on in the day. He won at Alton Park as well, and he really is a bit of a star on the opening laps. Former kart racer Sean Hyton, and he's very adept at pushing on cold tyres, whereas perhaps others around him are just a little bit more careful. You can see the way he's gained places already. He's 3rd in class, he's 4th overall, but the pace that he's got suggests that he's going to be a real threat for another race win here. So far, Anderson leads the G40s, Sykes 2nd in class, and they're 3rd, tucked up behind is Hyton. Heading onto Bentley Straight, these 3 squabbling for the class lead. Stuart Pearson, though, leads the race outright. Many more G40s in the championship this year. Last year they were not quite as quick initially as the G20s, because the G20s are a lighter car, but these days really the G40 is the one to have, and you'll find these cars working their way through in due course as Sykes picks up the lead, goes around the outside of Anderson, diving into Brundle, out of Nelson now up towards the bomb hole, and Sean Hyton's also looking for a way past Ben as they're getting it wrong. In the background is Lee Molden. He's way out into the weeds on the outside of the S's. Replay from Gary Sims' point of view, coming into Brundle, and there ahead of him getting it all wrong is Lee Molden. He goes one way, he goes the other, and through the dust cloud. Not only is Gary Sims delayed, so also is his class rival Paul Morgan, and Sims lines up to have a go on the inside there, heading into the bomb hole. There, Stuart Pearson is the man that Gary Sims is chasing, but not only are there lots of G40s and lots of empty track as well between him and his class rival, there's also Harvey Booth. Sims now turning his way into Brundle, but he's got a lot of work to do here, and that is Mike Robinson up from 26th on the grid. He charged his way up the order in the first race of the day to finish in 4th overall, and Mike Robinson doing another good job here, but Sims really has got a lot of work to do. Stuart Pearson has been able to build a bit of a lead early on, and there, stricken by the side of the road, looks like Lee Moldham. We've already seen him have one spin, and that's at Agostini, I think, heading towards Hamilton, but he's facing the wrong way. And Ben Anderson, back in the race after a pit stop, weaves a way around. I just wonder whether or not we're going to have a safety car here. Yes, we are. Lee Moldham's car after its spin in the middle of the road. And let's see if we can work out exactly how he got there. It's an Agostini. He has a spin. I think he's just stalled. It doesn't really seem to want to rejoin at all. And it's in an awkward place for the marshals to get to, particularly with the field a bit strung out now. So the safety car deployed, that bunches everybody up, and we're going to have just one lap to the checkered flag. We go racing now. There's just enough time to squeeze one last lap in. Richard Sykes leads the way. Second behind him is Sean Highton. In third as they dive down towards the first corner, it's Clive Richards. Then it's Ryan Ratcliffe in 4th place. And also keep an eye to the G20s. Have they bunched up as well? They will have done. Is it still Stuart Pearson ahead of the class? It is. So here they come up towards Montreal. Highton challenging Richard Sykes, who's not yet had a car race win. Off the road goes Thiago Calver there. The Brazilian driver for Optimum Motorsport slides out over the grass, and that may well be the end of his race. Ratcliffe trying to gain a place but also defend at the same time because Mark Davis is right up behind him. A replay of the restart. Gary Sims right on the tail of Stuart Pearson then as they come up towards the line. But the G40s have gone, and neither of them terribly sure whether it's a green flag or not. They see the green flag in the end and start racing for proper, but round the outside, Thiago Calver gains 2 places, turns into riches, a little bit too fast, misses the apex, misses his clipping point and just loses it, slithers off the road. But Gary Sims has a class lead now, heading up towards Montreal. Can he hang on to it? It was a clutch problem that stopped Richard Sykes in the first race, but Sean Highton aims to stop him in the second. He's right on his tail. Clive Richards third, and Highton goes to the inside, heading through Coram. That's how he got the lead in the earlier race, and he's going to do it again, I think, because he's right alongside Sykes through that long right-hander down towards Murray's. Sean Highton goes through. Richard Sykes is second. Clive Richards right up behind him, and Sykes gets sideways, and he spins right in front of the pack. Richards goes wide in avoidance, and Ryan Ratcliffe comes up on the inside to bag second to Poro. Richard Sykes is sorting himself out. Sean Highton scores a 3rd win out of 4 in the Ginetta Challenge. It's a great season for him. Ratcliffe second, and here is Gary Sims, who finds a slow Richard Sykes ahead of him. He just dodges around him on the run up towards the line. Is Gary Sims going to maintain this 100% record? The answer is no, because Stuart Pearson has already managed to duck past him, and so Pearson wins for the first time this year. Second over the line in the G20s is Gary Sims, and Harvey Booth is third. Richard Sykes ends up 14th. It may well have been that clutch problem that hampered his run down into Murray's for the last time, but either way, Sean Highton is the winner by a 1.5 seconds from Ryan Ratcliffe. Clive Richards comes home third. It's looking good, this for Highton in the championship. Within the G20s, Stuart Pearson the winner by just under a second. Gary Sims second, the 2 trading places on that last lap. Harvey Booth third ahead of Matt Flowers, then Paul Morgan, and Craig McIlvar rounds out the top 6. So finally, somebody other than Gary Sims is on the top step.
Aside from Paul, had a fantastic start. I mean, the G20s are a lot lighter. Got away, got a big gap, and then the safety car lights came on. I'm like, no, not now. I thought we were only going to have 1 flying lap, so I was bricking it a bit, but came through in the end, so yes, result, about time.
As far as the G20s are concerned, it's Gary Sims leading the way. He's 26 points clear of Stuart Pearson, with Matt Flowers a further 6 points back. Harvey Booth is 4th, and then it's a tie for 5th. Craig McIlvar and James Owen on 17 points apiece. It's been an all-action start to the season for the Ginetta Challenge, and the next stop is the Grand Prix circuit of Brands Hatch in mid-June.